Hello, friends, and welcome back to Stories About Entitled People. Sorry you have to put up with people like that, OP. Let's start our video with the story of malicious compliance against customers in retail. But before we begin, best way to support our channel is to leave comments, like, and subscribe with the turned-on bell so you don't miss the new video every single day. Here we go. Customer's always right? So I work as a minimum wage cashier at a discount store. I see a lot of people in a day, especially people who know how to do my job better than me due to their lack of experience and profound understanding that my job is the easiest in the world. Now, I always shut that crap down in the classic corporate happy public service employee way. We'll actually make it a little easier this way, but thank you so much for helping. Like I'm talking a toddler down from an upcoming tantrum. But I don't leave room for arguing. It's almost like I'm playing a character, honestly. It works for me. But I never just let someone do something stupid, like letting them walk out with a bag too heavy without double bagging it, or letting them leave putting their receipt in their bag if it looks like they might want to return it. But not today. It's Saturday, so it's busy. All day, as I would finally get a minute to get my other work done, someone would come up, taking forever to consider the impulse buys, while I'm stuck waiting for them at the register getting nothing done. This woman did that, but twice. She got up there, pondered for a minute, got a line behind her, decided to go look at something else. I'm stuck with this line till just before she gets back and ponders again before finally getting to me. She's your average-looking middle-aged soccer mom, but already she's getting on my nerves. But hey, it's Saturday. Every customer gets on my nerves. So whatever. She's got a lot of larger but lightweight items with some smaller items like bags of candy and socks. So I'm getting half of it in one large bag, half of it in another large bag. So I go to get the second bag, handing her the first one when she goes, "No, I don't want a lot of bags. You can fit the rest in there. It's fine." You should ask before getting more bags. It's your job to do things how the customers want and asking. Otherwise, you should just know to do one bag if you can. It's wasteful. I only want one bag. And I thought to myself, wow, it sounds like she's never done retail a day in her life. She must know what she's doing. Now, it's also worth noting that she had a few heavier items, not many, but a few. They were glass jars of sauces with lots of pigment and staining properties. It's also worth mentioning she was getting some chips that came in bags with pointy, sharper edges that eat bags for breakfast. The bag gets too heavy, and they press into the sides at any angle, and that bag's toast. It's also worth mentioning she was getting several white clothes made of very stainable material. Nice clothes. She said they were for an important party she had to go to that night, bragging. Normally, I would double bag, which would keep the sharp corners in check, but she was right. She only wanted one bag, so that must be all she needs. So I get the glass jars in with the clothes, nestled in there nicely spaced out, where they wouldn't hit each other with the clothes between them. And the bag's on top, spread around the top, so it was easier to lift the bag. Just like she wanted. That damn bag was already looking like it would bust wide open any second when she took it from the counter. Luckily, a line hadn't formed behind her yet, just someone looking the impulse buys over, so I couldn't really step away, but nothing to do but watch where I had a clear view of the parking lot. I watched as she struggled out the two front doors, no automatic, got a quarter of the way to her car when the bag bust. Glass and sauce everywhere. Sad, she had like $15 worth, about 5 jars. She struggled to force them back into the bag, hoping she could at least pile them into her arms with the bag holding it together, trying not to cut herself on the glass she'd wrapped up. It broke some more. She tried to salvage it and balance it back up, failed, gave up, grabbed as much of an armful as she could, had to take like 5 trips, her blouse and pants ruined. Maybe after over a year of cashiering nearly every day, I know what I'm doing. Shocker. And our second story. I'm very angry, and I'll hold. When I was first married, I had a job working for a call center for a smaller regional bank. Compared to the massive bank that eventually bought them out, you know, the one with the horses and stagecoach waiting to get robbed. Such a great symbol for a bank. This bank was actually pretty good about helping idiots with overdraft fees. I quit this bank long before they changed the laws in the U.S. regarding these fees, so I don't know how prevalent they still are. But back then, my job as one of the first people someone would talk to at the bank was usually telling people someone's balance, making a transfer for them, closing accounts, but mostly dealing with irate people wanting these fees reversed. Which makes sense. These fees suck and can set off a cascade of several overdrafts once checks and other debit charges hit. You can quickly get buried, and we were often given a lot of discretion, especially with first-time offenders. Regional Bank would let us reverse them all if we decided, and since it wasn't my money, if someone was nice and honest in how they asked, I'd always reverse them all. Then there were the people who took the entitled, trashy, all my problems are everyone else's fault approach. These were the types of folks who were repeat offenders, who'd had fees reversed multiple times before, and who the bank would make us escalate to a supervisor to override and get them reversed. Usually we'd tell them no. They'd get pissed and hang up, but a lot would ask for a supervisor after we said no, which I was fine with at that point. Later I became a supervisor who just took those calls all day, but that's the story of fresh hell for another day. We'd put them on hold, call the team leader, tell them the deal, then warm transfer them and move on to the next call. Eventually, Big Bank would have a 24-hour call center, but back when it was just the regional bank, we closed at 6 p.m. Sometimes we'd get our last call just before and be on the phone way past 6, which the bank was fine with. We didn't get dinged for long calls like big banks do. They just wanted us to stay on the call until they were satisfied one way or the other. We were allowed to hang up if they started swearing or became otherwise verbally abusive. So one day a lady calls me just before 6 and she wants fees reversed. She's a total B about it. We go round and round about how we've done this several times already and I can't help her this time, and she asks for a supervisor. I knew my supervisor left at 5 that day, but we could usually transfer to a different team leader, and usually one was designated to stay late until we were all off our calls. But for some damn reason, they had all left by then. I put her on hold and physically got up and walked around to double check. When I called their line, it'd just ring, and I'd get the hold music. I went back and told the angry lady this, which had the imagined effect. By this point, she'd already screamed, swore at me, etc., so I was fine to just hang up on her. But then I had an idea. Let's call her Kate. Kate, I want to speak to a supervisor right effing now. Me. I'm sorry, ma'am, but we close at 6. It's now 6:30 and none of them are here. You'll need to call back in the morning. Kate. I'm not waiting on hold in the morning again to go through all this. I want to talk to one right now. Me. But there aren't any here. Kate. Well, I'll just wait until there is. She's just going scorched earth at this point and daring me to hang up on her. So I decided to comply. I said, okay, please hold. I'm transferring you to the supervisor queue. Usually I call first and do the warm transfer, but since I knew no one would pick up, I cold transferred her to the queue. I wasn't sure it would let me do it because it ties up my line until someone picks up. But once I hung up the receiver, it let me clock out, and since the call time didn't matter, I left her on hold and went home. I wish there was a way to see how long she actually waited. I'm sure she thought she was holding me up from going home. And our last story. Involved in a car accident, cop and responsible party are friends. I was the only car stopped at a red light making a left-hand turn. The light turned green, and I had a green arrow. I started turning, the car directly across the intersection blew the red and T-boned me. I saw him pick up his cell phone. He refused to get out of the car or acknowledge me. A few moments later, a police officer arrived. The other guy jumped out of his car, shook the officer's hand, and said, "Thanks for coming, Dave." The officer took his statement and didn't say a word to me other than to ask me for my insurance card. He went back to his patrol car, walked over to me, and handed me a summons. He said, "You're receiving a citation for failure to yield. You can pick up the police report in 3 to 5 business days at the police station." When I informed him that I had a green arrow and the other vehicle had in fact gone through a red light, he chuckled and said, "The other driver's a captain on our fire department. He's driven our engine safely through more intersections than you've ever seen. I don't want to hear it." But I replied, "But I have." He put his hand up in my face and said, "You're not getting out of this by lying to me. You can attempt to contest your citation in court. I'll see you there." I picked up the police report, and it says that the opposing driver had a green light as he approached the intersection. As he entered the intersection, I drove into the intersection at a high rate of speed, turning left without yielding, impeding the other driver's path and causing the collision. It says that when I questioned, I did not dispute the other driver's account of the accident and was issued a summons. What I was trying to tell the officer was that I have a dash cam that captured the entire accident. I rolled my windows down as soon as it happened, so the audio is fairly clear. It shows us both stopped at the intersection, me entering the intersection with a green arrow, the other driver gunning it into the intersection. It doesn't capture the crash as it was from the side. Me getting out and attempting to talk to the other driver, audio of the other driver calling the officer Dave, video of me giving the officer my insurance card, and then video of him handing me the summons and refusing to listen to my side. The other driver has already filed a claim against my insurance. When they called and asked me what happened, I told them the truth and that I have the whole thing on video. They are not paying his claim pending an investigation. So I spoke to the lawyer. He sent the video to the police chief and the prosecutor. What the officer did is considered official misconduct and he'll be reprimanded. Such actions go on his official record and undermine his credibility as a witness in past and future cases. The police officers tried to defend the police officers, but the captain wanted to save his butt. He was forced to act. The prosecutor was quite discouraged when he saw that the officer had lied in his official report. As you can understand, I won the case and was reimbursed for the cost of repairing my car. Hey guys, thank you all for watching the video. I'll see you in the next one.